Hi, Tim Lum, just here to tell you about Sean Terry and the Flip Freedom Academy and his podcast. A little bit about myself. I've been interested in real estate for a long time. Parents are real estate agents, which is kind of helpful, kind of not. But I started listening to podcasts, I'd say over a year ago. Didn't have a lot of money. I actually didn't really have any money. Got out of the Army, moved to Tucson, Arizona with my wife. Didn't have any job because the layoffs and the holds and freezes for government jobs and city jobs. So really couldn't find anything. So it came at a point where I was refurnishing furniture just to make ends meet, and throwing the call books, the big yellow pages books to people's houses, trying to do that. I did the census, did that, just trying to make ends meet. Actually ended up finding a job as a defense contractor, which worked out really well. Started paying the bills, which was really good, but long hours. I'm working 65-hour weeks every week. I have to work the overtime just to pay the bills because the pay isn't that much. So I started listening to podcasts. It's free to listen to podcasts. It's free to get his ebook, which was really great. A lot of great content in that. I was amazed on how much content was in that. And just with that, I was able to take that knowledge, start implementing his ideas, the marketing, getting the marketing going, making mailings go out, doing some bandit signs, and being a little more surreal with you. My wife and I, we've had problems getting pregnant. Been married about 4 years now. Well, with that, we looked into doing fertility treatment, which ended up being our only means, and is what the doctor said for us to get pregnant. He said, well, you're not going to get pregnant unless you do fertility treatment. Well, we looked into that, and it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, even with the insurance that I had, which was really good. So we'll get to the outcome of that in a little bit. So what happened, I started doing the real estate, started marketing, looking for wholesale deals, obviously. But the thing is, with Sean Terry's podcast, you learn so much more than just the wholesaling. You also learn ways, if there is no equity, what to do with the property. So I sent out a direct mail piece, the yellow letter, which he talks about, and other direct mail pieces, and a lead came in, and the lady said that she had the property for sale. It's been for sale for, I think, 6 months with a realtor, and it wasn't selling. And now it became an expired lead. I'm kind of forgetting how I got the lead. I think I actually just got it off a absentee owner list. Well, she called in. I talked to her. She explained the frustration that she was having, that the property wasn't selling. And so I talked to her a little bit and said, well, what do you owe on the property? She said, I don't owe anything. So right there I thought, okay, well, there's motivation. There's equity in the property. I need to go meet this person. And so it was her and her husband. I went out there and met with them. And the husband wasn't as motivated as the wife was. And he pretty much wanted full price for the property, and that's what he was going to get. So he didn't want fast cash, 60 cents on the dollar. He wanted full price. So I told him, I was like, okay, well, sir, your property's been for sale for 6 months. I understand you want full price. How about if we did where I can find someone, or I can rent the property from you for a certain amount of time and buy the property at the end of that time? Is that something that would work out for you? He said, okay, he'd agreed to that, and I explained, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the option to buy your property, but during that time, I'm going to be looking for someone to assign my contract over to. So this contract is contingent upon me assigning the contract over to and finding an end buyer. He agreed to that and signed the contract and anything. About within a month, I found a buyer who didn't want to do a rent-to-own, who actually wanted to do seller financing. So I talked with him, kind of saw what he wanted. With the lease option, I was only asking $3,500 down as their option deposit, but I'd collect that as my fee. Well, with seller financing, he said that he'd buy it it would be a lower price because I wouldn't have to do the rent credits, but he'd actually put more money down. So I asked him, well, what are you going to put down? He said, well, I could put down $5,000. So here I got really excited, raced back over I said, okay, well, let me talk to my partner, aka the owner. So I called up the owner real fast, real excited, and said, you know what? Let's think about maybe will you do seller financing at say 7% for 7 years. And I had a great title officer who explained to me, okay, here's what the payment will be, here's how much they're going to earn because of the interest. So I explained to them, well, now you're making money on your money because of the interest, so you're going to make a lot more than the sale price. And the sale price, I picked up the property with them at 110. I flipped it to the other person at 115, but $5,000 down. So I explained to them at 110 with 7% interest, you're gonna. I think the payoff in the end was around 140. So I said you're gonna have a sale price of a lot more than what you're expecting right now and what you're trying to get when you're trying to sell the property with a real estate agent. Well, they said yes, so I raced back over to the buyer. I said, you know what, my partner approves of it. If we could do it at 7%, you put down the $5,000. You got yourself a deal, and you got yourself this house. And the gentleman was ecstatic. He shook my hand. He said, you know what, let's do it. And instead of making $3,500, I made $5,000. And the key to that is not putting limits on what you're expecting to make. Go out there, talk to them, find out the motivation, listen to his podcast. Sean Terry has great tips on negotiation.